For weeks, Governor Gavin Newsom teased that California would soon shift to a post-COVID state. But despite the talk about learning to live with an endemic virus, the governor and some lawmakers alike are not lifting the state of emergency.
State lawmakers in the Senate shot down a resolution that would end California's pandemic-related state of emergency on Tuesday. The bill, Senate Concurrent Resolution 5, was first introduced in December of 2020 by Senator Melissa Melendez.
It is time for the legislature to reassert its constitutional authority as the legislative body of this state and end this endless emergency.
Melendez said the state of emergency has given the governor too much power and noted 29 other states have already ended their emergencies.
The state of emergency has been extended 3 times since it was first enacted in March of 2020. This resolution is about one thing and one thing only, and that is the balance of power. The balance between executive power and legislative power, to be precise.
On a party line vote, members of the Committee on Governmental Organization rejected ending the state of emergency in a 4-8 vote. The committee chairman agreed to grant the resolution reconsideration, meaning it can be brought back for another vote later this year.
The existing state of emergency proclaimed by the governor is absolutely important to ensure that the state can quickly and efficiently continue to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and be prepared for possible future variants and surges.
Following the vote, a spokesperson for the governor said in a statement, elected officials should focus on what best serves their constituents and stop with the political theater. The state will continue to be guided by the latest science and data as we respond to the evolving pandemic. In late February, Newsom ended 95% of his executive orders related to the CCP virus, also known as COVID-19. Of the 33 remaining orders, 18 of them will end on March 31st, while the other 15 will end on June 30th. However, the COVID state of emergency remains in place.
California officially lifted its school mask mandate last Saturday, but students in Los Angeles are still masked inside the classroom. Parents protested outside of Los Angeles Teachers Union building, who they say are to blame for their children's faces, are still being covered up.
On Tuesday, a group of Los Angeles parents rallied outside the Teachers Union headquarters. They demanded an end to mask requirements for the CCP virus, also known as COVID-19, which they say are being kept in place by the Teachers Union, UTLA.
Okay, so UTLA is basically the thorn in most parents' side for the last 2.5 years. They have basically held up the education of the kids of LAUSD. Every step of the way, they've stood in the way of getting the kids back to school.
Along with the state, Los Angeles County officially lifted the indoor mask-wearing requirements at schools. The LA Unified School District, however, has kept the requirement in place. Rosenthal says it's in place because of labor negotiations.
So this is all a negotiation tactic, it's a stalling tactic, it's a power grab, basically. Our kids are not hostages. We're not negotiating for our kids. We want the kids to get their masks off.
Other parents say their children are being bullied for resisting wearing masks.
My daughter actually attempted to take off her mask. She got bullied. They had security guards, they had police officers there, the entire school board members were there, and they just weren't allowed.
Monroe said the mask mandates no longer make sense as people are going maskless throughout the rest of LA. According to the County Department of Public Health, K-12 schools saw a positivity rate of 0.3% at the beginning of March.
They go everywhere without a mask. The only time they're wearing a mask is in school, and it's not my child's responsibility to protect adults. It's just not. It's not their responsibility.
UTLA issued a statement last month supportive of masking. They wrote, LAUSD schools have been the safest and most well-equipped in the country because educators and families united to demand critical health and safety protocols. NTD reached out to UTLA for comment.
It's just really a symptom of the larger issue, which is that there is a learning loss and there's no accountability for the academic loss to this institution, the teachers union.
I encourage all parents to come out and protest and not to be afraid. At this point, there's nothing to be afraid of other than our children are going to be a generation of mental illness, trauma, anxiety, depression.
Mask mandate removal is subject to labor talks with UTLA. Those talks are expected to resume Wednesday.
Last year, Border Patrol in Southern California made a record seizure of illegal meat from China. Officials said seizures are important to keep invasive species and disease out of America's agriculture.
Record levels of illegal Chinese meat are coming into Southern California's two major ports. Agents from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, or CBP, seized more than 262,000 pounds of prohibited pork, chicken, beef, and duck products. The seizure took place between October and December 2021, according to a March 14th report. The end-of-year seizures topped off a record year of illegal meat imports in 2021. Total illicit Chinese imports for the year made up almost 787,000 pounds. The volume represented an 80% increase from 2020. Carlos Martel, CBP Director of Field Operations in Los Angeles, said in a statement that the seizures are critical to protect American agriculture. He said, preventing the introduction of foreign contagious animal diseases and noxious pests at our nation's largest seaport is paramount and vital to our agriculture industry and the well-being of the communities we serve. Agents say most of the illegal animal products are found stored in boxes with e-commerce shipments and household goods. They say it's a clear attempt to smuggle meat. Donald Cusser, CBP Port Director of the Los Angeles and Long Beach Seaport, warned of invasive species. He said CBP plays a major role in protecting American consumers and the agriculture industry from pests and diseases. According to the USDA, China is known to have a range of destructive agricultural diseases. The list includes African swine fever, classical swine fever, foot and mouth disease, bird flu, and other virulent diseases.
Two developers are transforming properties into homeless shelters in California, hoping to address one of the state's most visible issues. But some critics say the initiative is just a short-term solution. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
Property developers Ryan and Jeremy Ogilnick converted an industrial space in Santa Ana in 28 days. They did the same with properties in neighboring Anaheim and Fullerton in a matter of months. They are due to open yet another remodeled Santa Ana site next week.
The model is fairly simple. We'll take vacant warehouses, vacant office buildings, no different than building out tenant improvements for an insurance company, a tech company, and within 30 to, depends on the magnitude of the build out, between 30 days and 9 months, we can build out a fully operating shelter.
Orange County has a homeless population of some 7,000 people, nearly 60% of them unsheltered. Two residents found the Fullerton shelter friendlier than others where they have stayed.
They're giving me the tools that I need and the right mindset that I'm going to need to be able to succeed on my own and to do everything for myself.
Jennifer Payek, 57, became homeless after her husband died, before she found her way to the Fullerton Navigation Center.
Everybody here, to me, they're very nice. Everybody. So I just love the people here. I don't mind staying whatever, but I do need to get some privacy, so I really do need to move to a private room.
Quick and efficient as these shelters may be, they are only a short-term fix. Some critics are concerned Orange County doesn't have a permanent solution.
The focus really has been of many of the cities of Orange County in recognizing that there's a problem, talking through solutions to the problem, and then going for the quick fix to the visibility and not the permanent solution to the problem.
According to a 2021 study by the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, the United States was about 7 million units short of sufficient affordable housing. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
California thieves are stealing whatever they can get their hands on. Recently, a woman was caught swiping a century-old bottle of liquor from a steakhouse in the Bay Area.
The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office just released security footage of a woman stealing liquor at a high-end Bay Area steakhouse. In security footage from March 8th, a woman wearing an evening gown is seen strolling around the bar counter at San Jose's Mount Hamilton Grand View. With at least 3 other people watching the vicinity, she grabs a bottle from the bar, a $4,000 bottle of Louis XIII Cognac. She then walks away with a man dressed in a white button-up shirt and slacks. The restaurant manager told KTVU the $4,000 bottle of Louis XIII Cognac is nearly a century old. The couple was part of a party of 10 who had dinner prior to the theft. The group paid $1,600 in cash for dinner. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office is now investigating the case as a felony grand theft. Anyone with information related to this ongoing case is urged to contact the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office at 408-808-4500.
Astra successfully launched this Astra I mission from the Pacific Spaceport Complex in Cognac, Alaska. The mission comes after resolving technical issues from a previous failed launch. Let's take a look at the rocket taking off into orbit.
3. First motion. First. Vehicle has cleared the tower.
California-based rocket startup Astra launched 3 payloads into a sun-synchronous orbit. The payload includes satellites and space environmental instruments. This was Astra's second launch in the U.S. The launch comes after Astra resolved a previous technical problem from a failed attempt on February 10th. Astra thinks one reason was the protective nose cone that surrounds satellites during launch, which didn't deploy properly. The second reason was a software error. The firing order was wrong because an engineering diagram had been drawn incorrectly. Astra has since corrected the diagram and upgraded its software. The February 10th launch was Astra's 5th ever orbital mission, and its first from the contiguous United States. In 2020, Astra was among 3 companies picked by NASA to launch small satellites. The company was founded in 2016 in Alameda, California.